Welcome back to Accordion Brat. My name is Pete Contino. This is episode 6, part 6 of my father's story, Dick Contino. Continuing on, he's over in Korea doing that thing. I think I have two more episodes after this of his story, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But again, I thank you for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying it. And let's get right into it. Here we go.
So I'm taking, they ordered me to be taking basic training as a rifleman, to be sent wherever. UCOM, PCOM, which was European Command or Far Eastern Command. You know? While I was taking my basic training, to give you an idea, I walked by this one particular area, and they were putting on a show. And I was always very humble, and I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back. I always had this sense of, not really glorifying. Maybe that's why I was enjoying the success I was too, because I was enjoying it. It was like something out here, like a masquerade. I never lived there like, wow, what a star I am. So it was always, somebody would say, so I was watching the show and I says, do you mind if I play a couple numbers on the accordion? Somebody had an accordion there, because they wouldn't let me have mine. They wouldn't let me have it. No way. I asked about that and no, definite no. So the guy said, yeah, so he said, what's your name? And I said, Dick Contino, and he goes, holy shit. So I played a couple of numbers, the guys went crazy. Well, the commander of Fort Ord heard about it, that they allowed me to do that, volunteer to play a couple of numbers for the guys. He reprimanded all the commanding officers in that area, like they committed a crime, like they were trying to smuggle in drugs or something, for letting me play the accordion. That's how severe it was. That's how severe it was. My commanding officer, forget it, lieutenant, whatever his name was, he said at one point during my basic training, he said, you're a hell of a guy. He says, I hope when you get your orders, you don't go to PCOM, which is Far East, which means normally Korea. He said, I hope they send you to UCOM. You know what I mean? In other words, you're in Europe, there's no fighting going on, you do your time there. Orders came through. PCOM. So he came up to the big, I'm sorry, Contino, So now I was ordered to go to Camp Stoneman outside Monterey. That's where, you got processed to take a boat, take a ship over to, first of all, Japan, Tokyo, or wherever, Incheon, Japan. Oh, no, was it Incheon? Well, anyway, I'm getting confusing some towns, like, I think Incheon's in Korea. That's where that was, when I got to Korea, I came into Incheon. I know where it was. I think we went directly to Tokyo. And, anyway, I met Camp Stoneman, and, figure there. But so everybody, like I say, they must have sensed a charisma, a quality that I had. Nobody was out, as a rule. There were exceptions, rare exceptions, but usually it's like, what a nice guy. So, it was like, while I was there, that's when I met Dick Kerr. He was there with the Air Force. He was there indefinitely. And now, my commanding officer, sergeant, he, in spite of, whatever he had heard, my reputation, hey, you're a hell of a guy, right? Okay? So let's party while you're waiting to be, shipped out. He almost got in trouble. All right, first of all, he and Dick and myself, we go to these nightclubs at night, because he was my commanding officer, so to speak. So I get off the base, he write up the passes. So three of us, we go to a club, and I dig up an accordion somewhere, and I figured, at one point, at Camp Stoneman, when I first got there, I went and I thought, while I'm here waiting to be shipped, let me go check out special services, So I went there, and I figured, well, maybe I'm free of the bullshit now that I'm through with basic training. I'll never forget that. I walked up to the guy's desk, the sergeant there, and I said, can I, do you ever need an MC or a guy that plays the accordion or can sing, or would you ever be interested in somebody that could, because I'm here to be shipped out, but maybe while I'm here? The guy says, we got enough singers and everything else. He says, but you say you play the accordion. I said, yeah. He says, do you play like Contino? I said, well, I am Contino. Well, he dropped the pencil. He said, holy shit, again, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's how that all started while I was there. So, wow, maybe I got the bullshit behind me. So, in the meantime, that's how I knew this. When they assigned me, waiting to be shipped out, this other sergeant, Dick Kerr, we go to these clubs. We get drunk, man, we partied. And then at night, so that I, maybe could detain my being shipped out, he'd tell me to go sack out in the other barracks, which are isolated, so I get some sleep. And I'd be in the area, but not to, whenever they get over. So try to not be seen, so to speak, because nobody's in a hurry to see me want to leave, So this went on for days, until one morning, I'm sleeping or trying to sleep, had a few drinks, and I hear conversation, the pitter-patter of little feet. I heard a voice say, soldier? I opened my eyes, there were about 3 officers. What's your name? Contino. Well, my orders came down in about 2 days. I was assigned to the USS Accordion, heading for Tokyo. Still, you know what? I almost jumped ship again, this time as a soldier. Again, it was Dick Kerr that helped me. I thought, I can't do it, I said, I'm not going to do it. So he called up my mom and dad, and he says he's going to do it again. He's going to leave it. And they came to San Francisco to my Uncle Angelo and Aunt Lena's house. What are you doing? I said, I don't think I can do it. So Dick says, you got to, this time I wasn't so panicky. I thought, well, maybe I can. Maybe you'll be all right. That's when a strange thing happened. I got there, and as I walked up the gangplank to get on the ship, once they pulled up that gangplank, strange thing, I felt like king shit. Felt like John Wayne, all these guys wrapped into one. Yeah. Felt pretty strong, Hey, it's not going to be bad. Maybe again, that's what I needed, Okay, I'm on. They pulled up the gang. I didn't think, how that works. I was just grateful. So I got over to Japan. Now we're on the train. We're going to wherever. So we get off the ship. Somebody's got a little accordion. Hey, I left the bullshit behind me in the States, in Fort Ord. Baby, I get the accordion, I start playing, and we're singing like in the movies. We're singing songs. Here I am, whatever I was, 21 years old, I get through playing, we're almost where we're going to be going. This one cadre calls it, his corporal says, are you Contino? And I said, yeah. He says, your ass has had it. Your ass has had it. do I do now? Run across the water? Take the next plane out of Tokyo? What do they mean by your ass has had it? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? So I got to where I was going. You know, I just tried to relax. It wasn't panicky. It was not panicky. I'm waiting to be what they call pipelined. I did know my MOS was rifleman. So any chance I had, as far as remember, there was a part, you know, at the NCO club or something, any kind of enlisted man's club, I'd go. They were probably my heaviest drinking days, or some of those days. So, you know, if anybody had an accordion laying around, I'd play it. You know, sing or do something. Hey, party time. Let's, you know. So, you know, sometimes the sergeants, you know, they say, hey, Contino, we're having a party over here, and we grab an accordion. I would come down and, you know, playing a few tunes. Yeah, let's go. You guys gonna have booze and stuff? Yeah, let's go. Let's go. You know, it was that kind of attitude. All of a sudden, like my John Wayne, so to speak, image or attitude wasn't being so tarnished. Wasn't so tarnished. I was away from home. I was okay. I wasn't throwing myself on the ground. I wasn't going insane. Anyway, to make a long story short, those kind of nights going on, and at one point this top kick, they call him, staff sergeant, maybe not staff, he was master sergeant. Master sergeant. He says, you know something, Contino? I got to tell you something. You know, we're having a couple of drinks there. He says, you know who really runs this fucking army? The NCO. Forget the brass, man. Forget the brass. The NCO run the fucking army. He says, you're a hell of a guy. Again, you're a hell of a guy. We're gonna, you know, he says, you got to get out of here. He says, it's right all the way down from General Mark Clark's headquarters. You cannot stay in Tokyo. I was hoping maybe a miracle they'd keep me in Tokyo. You know, instead of sending me to Korea where they were fighting all that shit. He says, you're not going to be staying here, but I'll tell you what, we're going to cut your orders. Forget your MOS as rifleman. We're cutting your orders to be sent to special services in Seoul. Well, that was like saying, so we're going to assign you to the Waldorf Astoria in downtown New York. You know, everything relative. And he says, you're kidding. I thought, could he be, you know, serious? Well, this one early morning, still dark, with her calling out where all the guys are going to be assigned. So-and-so, such and such a battalion, such and such division, blah, blah, so-and-so, such and such a battalion. And I knew they were going down. So they mentioned special service a couple of times. My name wasn't mentioned. Oh, my God. I waited. Finally, 10th Special Service, Seoul, Korea, Contino, Richard J. Well, I start crying. You know, I as soon as I could, I got to a phone to call long distance and call my folks so they wouldn't worry. They were, if I was go over there, you know, to be shot, to shoot and be shot at. Oh, Mom, Dad, listen, special services. I'm not going to have to carry a rifle. I can play the accordion, entertain. I'll be in Seoul, I'll be in Korea, but I'll be okay. I got on the ship to go to Korea. Well, that's where I went into Incheon. A guy named Vic Tiberi. Later we became friends for years. He's very outspoken, typical, great character. I think he ran that whole special service thing without even being a lieutenant, you know. Anyway, he picks me up in a Jeep. His first words were to me, "You're Contino, right?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Whatever you do, don't fuck up." I says, "Fuck up?" I start laughing, you know. He says, "Because they're laying for you. You fuck up one time, they're going to send you to a frontline outfit with your MOS as a rifleman. They're waiting for you to fuck up." I said, "Oh, my God." Well, I immediately felt a sense of freedom. From the fear of, I don't know, just, for one thing, it wasn't like basic training, we were in an outfit there where it seemed like, frankly, Vic Berry he symbolized, like between himself and maybe one or two of the other guys, they kind of ran that outfit, even though there was a Captain Conrad, he's a real nice guy, Captain Conrad, but, whereas you're taught in basic training, for example, that you report to the command post, you salute the captain or lieutenant, whoever the commanding officer is. Everything is very protocol, but not in this case. Vic he sometimes would storm into the command post there in his shorts with no hat on. He would salute the captain. He'd say, "What is all this shit?" That's the way he talked. We're supposed to do fucking shows, and they're harassing us. They're doing this and this. Well, Vic, take it easy. The captain. It was great. It was like a MASH thing. A MASH hospital thing. So, oh man, it was like between Vic, like I say, Lou Tullianello, and Danny Fitzgerald, all these guys. We'd go out and entertain, do shows and stuff, and drink. Because we were special services, we had access to the, movies they had sent over. So it was like a party thing, I had difficulty writing home to my folks, and as if maybe they thought I was just saying it, I was trying to convince them that, hey, I'm fine, this is great. I'm not walking around with a weapon looking for somebody to shoot at or be shot at, Although you had that in the back of your head because, you'd sometimes wonder if somebody say, hey, they might say, well, there's some snipers in this area here, there, wherever we might be entertaining. So, but, 98% of the time we just did shows and stuff. And, partied that way, and hear guys tell their stories about their wives or girlfriends. See, I wasn't going with anybody at that time, and I'll tell you what, there's a part of me that's really grateful because, guys would get dear Johns, they call them, from either their wife, mainly their wives or girlfriends, and they wouldn't let a guy go home. If he could be just as busted up as if somebody had died. But unless somebody died, they wouldn't let you come home, So they'd have to sweat it out there. Who would threaten to commit suicide, or, then end up just laughing it off or getting drunk. Trying to think of any particular anecdote there, but overall, the whole thing was an anecdote. The whole thing was... That went on for a while, but lurking, I guess, was this thing about the beef, the Army beef, because we were at this building in Seoul, and there was an engineer outfit, below us there, and I guess word got out that Contino was intense special, with the same building. Well, you'd be surprised how even being in Korea, like Vic Berry would say sometimes, he was a great character out of Chicago. We later became great friends, and he and Tommy Amato and myself. So anyway, when somebody'd say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that, an officer would reprimand him, he'd say, what the fuck are you going to do, send me to Korea? He always had that cliche ready. You'd be surprised at people who, here I was in Korea, but not carrying a rifle, not having an arm blown off, or they're never satisfied. this resentment thing in some people's minds, you know, like, here's the guy that tried to beat the army, you know, and that type of thing. So, one day, after, you know, we're having fun, we're going to different outfits to play in the Seoul area, Seoul, Korea area, you know. Captain Conrad came to me and he says, I'm getting a lot of pressure. So I'm getting a lot of pressure because you're intense special. He says, I like you. He says, here. You know, he thought I was a great character. He didn't want to see, he says, because there are a lot of people, he said, who would like nothing better than to have me transfer you over to a fighting outfit with your original MOS as a rifleman. So he says, you know, they probably see you around here and think you really got it knocked. So maybe I'll do something unusual. I can do it, he says. He says, I want you to take about 7 or 8 guys, get a 3/4 ton truck, get a Jeep, your instruments, whatever. I'll cut your orders that'll read TDY, temporary duty, anywhere in Korea. He says, just take off. He says, let me know you're still here, you know. But take off. Your orders will entitle you to just travel wherever you want, to entertain different outfits. You can even, if you can hitchhike a flight, you know, a plane ride, whatever, with whatever outfit, going down to Busan, Daejeon, you know, any different cities in Korea. Go to the different outfits, drive, whatever. Check in about every month or so, 6 weeks. Let me know you're still here. So I did. It was like, you know, like a Garrison's Guerrillas type of format. So I picked out about 6, 7, 8 guys. I'll tell you what, that's when the fun really began. That's when the fun really began. Because then you didn't have to answer to a commanding officer. You know, I mean, as far as we go to these different outfits, they'd never try to, you know, get us up in the morning, you know, like, they thought we were USO. You know, because if anybody had any stripes, like, you know, PFC, corporal, whatever, we didn't wear them. So everybody thought, well, these guys must... And then if anybody would question, you know, I just show them, are you soldiers or are you USO? I'd show them, you know, that we had orders out of 10 Special, TDY anywhere in Korea. Sometimes, you know, an officer would walk in and say, what the fuck you soldiers doing? We're not soldiers, we're USO. Leave us alone, you know. We sleep in. We stay up all night watching movies, you know, getting drunk, eating whatever food we get a hold of, and different outfit about every week or so, or every other day, or whatever we wanted to do. We just ran the whole thing. It was quite a thing. Great experience. One time, in particular, because we would, you know, we would just make contact with an outfit we knew we might be nearby. And, hey, you guys want a show? Type of thing. Okay, we'll send a truck out after you to help you with equipment and so forth. Well, they came to pick us up, and picturing the whole thing right now. We were going to this outfit, and I know, the driver took a wrong turnoff or road. And seemed like it was pretty barren. Seemed like there were still holes in the ground. Maybe an outfit had been. Unbeknownst to all of us, we actually, we were in no man's land. They call that meaning the North Koreans, the Chinese main line of resistance, say, was to the front of us, and our main line of resistance was to the back of us, and we were kind of driving around in no man's land. We're, totally vulnerable, but not knowing it. So they were in this huge, it wasn't a 3/4 ton, it was a bigger truck. We went in their truck, it was a larger one. I forget the name of the vehicle. And so we began to hear explosions around us. So Lou Tillinello was sitting across from me. And then, whenever you traveled in one of those trucks, the rules were you couldn't travel in a truck that was covered in case you had to evacuate immediately. So I shouted out to him. It was cold. I says, Lou, is that incoming or outgoing? Meaning, are we shooting at somebody, or is somebody shooting at us, or shooting at one of the outfits near us? He says, well, man, it's got to be outgoing, And just about at that time, a shell landed by us. I could hear the fragments whistling. So immediately we stopped. The guy stopped. We ran off the truck. There was a ditch nearby, and we all sort of covered in that ditch. Shells were coming in all around us. Kenny, one of the guys who played guitar, he kept yelling, "There's a cave over there. There's an opening. Let's go to that cave. Let's run to that cave." For some reason, I just took over. I didn't plan it. I guess I was in command that way, where there was no commanding officer, but it was my show. Still called it the Dick Contino show. For some reason, I says, "No, stay down. Right about that time, a shell lands right at the mouth of the cave. So we're scared. Are they zeroing in? We glanced up. There was a 3/4 ton truck coming in our direction. I guess somebody had gone into that area, and they were and this guy was driving like a bat out of hell. And we're waving, he's approaching us, we're waving our arms. You could tell he wasn't about to stop. He was justifiably panicky. So here I go, I inspired, get up out of the ditch and throw myself in front of on the road. Just one of those things. And he had to stop or run over me. And he started calling me all kinds of names. As I got up, while I was down, and he had stopped the vehicle, everybody started piling onto the truck, and they got on except one guy. I forget his name. He was of Greek descent. Funny guy, but he did comedy in the show or what, but he was running after, as the guy took off, he's running after the truck, and we're reaching out, to grab him. Shell lands nearby and hit it. A thing hits him in the chin. It wasn't bad, but it was enough to give him a Purple Heart, and he had what they called a $1 million wound. He was able to be sent home. And I remember thinking, wow, why couldn't I have gotten that? Well, you know what I mean? It wasn't serious, and I thought any kind of an injury, due to. Well, we got on the truck. We got back to this one outfit. Everybody was quite shaken. Immediately started hitting the booze and thinking about all what could have happened. But we found ourselves entertaining at what they called all the way down the battalion level. And when you're entertaining at that level, you're always vulnerable to any possible firepower. You're apprehensive, but And I guess everybody's that way, you know, and so everybody knows it, and they just try to have fun the best they could. As a matter of fact, one other little anecdote. My first cousin, Victor Antonino, to this day, hasn't forgotten it. Well, by this time, you know, as time goes on, they realize, I think, or whatever they realized, they decided to disband 10th Special services and reassign the different entertainers or whatever, musicians, to different outfits, other outfits. Well, I was assigned to an outfit called Ninth Corps Rest Center. The Korean War was coming to an end at that time, so there were no pressures that way. And but nevertheless, they were still fighting. There was still fighting going on. My cousin Victor Antonino was coming over. I got a letter from my mother who said Aunt Nellie, his mother, was very worried about him because he was in an outfit which was would be very vulnerable, mortar outfit, you know. Usually the enemy, they try to knock out these mortar positions. One of the first priorities. He said, could you do anything to help him? I thought, what can I do? Well, by this time, you know, I was at Ninth Corps with all the musicians and stuff. I was like Dickie and the mob. You know, we were having a great time, and this Lieutenant Knoll, K-N-O-L-L, he was quite a guy. And he kind of let me run things that way. He promoted me from PFC to corporal. And so I thought, what can I do? Well, I got together with the other guys in the show, and I said, you know, I got a cousin coming over, you know, blah, 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 blah. He's kind of a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's got a great natural delivery. I says, why don't we get together and we'll put an act together. And I'll go to the Lieutenant Knoll and make a plea that why is this guy in a mortar outfit? He's an entertainer. We work together, you know, in the States and things like that. Okay, so I went to. Well, I got to lose. You know, you're there. It's funny. A whole different personality took over. It was like I felt like wherever I never abused it. I would. You know, I didn't think I was abusing anything. I just would say, hey, yeah, all right, let's try this. What about that? You know, I was very sweatshop, as they say in Italian. You know, in a nice way. So I went to Lieutenant Knoll and I said, Lieutenant, there's a guy, and he's actually kind of a cousin of mine. I says, I don't understand. I said, we work together in the States. He's a very funny guy. He does comedy. But they got him assigned to a mortar outfit. And I think he'd be fantastic on our show here. So he says, really? He says, well, let me cut you some orders. Grab a Jeep, go up his outfit and bring him down. I said, holy shit, you know. Now, for some reason, my phobias, forget about it. They're out the window. I mean, right, you know, to get in a Jeep by myself, drive through areas that are isolated, but I knew where I was going. I didn't think, well, I'm by myself. I feel alone. Weird. I think I got a thought about that. Hope I don't forget it when I come back. So I went up there and I said, I checked the outfit he's supposed to be. Victor Antonino, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I went to his commanding officer. I said, I have orders here cut for Private Antonino to come with me down to the Ninth Corps Rest Center. He said, oh, yeah, he checked it over. Okay, he says, tell him to get his gear and go with you. So I went to Vic. I says, you told him the story. Vic, come on. He said, I'm not in the show. I said, never mind. I said, the guys will put an act together. You're funny. You know, bring you down. Get you out of here. They were still fighting, you know. At that moment they weren't, but firepower would go, you know, start and stop, even though everybody suspected that the war was coming to a close, they were still fighting. So I said, okay. So we jumped in the Jeep, and we went down there. And he said, I can't believe this. I said, yeah. So we got there, and hey guys, Vic, my cousin Vic. So we're sitting down. We took our sweet time, you know. We sit around, drink, have a great time, you know. Okay, this is where we'll open the show. We'll do this, we'll do that. You say this, I'd be the straight man. It was really funny. So, we're taking our time with it. Well, Lieutenant Knoll was very easygoing, you know. He kind of, just... But even though he was easygoing, at one point, he come up to me and he says, when are you going to put this comedian? It's supposed to be a cousin of yours, but when are you going to put him in the show? I thought, oh, shit. I said, well, any time now, Lieutenant. By the way, this Lieutenant Knoll, he liked, when it was off-duty time, we're partying around and we're drinking and watching movies or what. He liked to party with us, see? So, and partying just meant getting drunk and talking about things in the States, wives, girlfriends, mothers and fathers, and plans and ideas. So, but the reason I brought it up is because when we're sitting around drinking, partying, I'd say, that's right, Lieutenant. He says, don't call me Lieutenant. He says, call me what my friends call me, Lucky, see? I said, okay. I said, okay, Lucky. We're partying, Lucky. Hey, what do you say, Lucky? It's but the next morning, invariably, every time I go down to the command post for any reason, I'd walk in thinking, hey, my buddy's the commanding officer. I'd walk into the command post and say, hey, Lucky, how you doing? He'd say, what's this Lucky shit? Oh, my God, here we go, Okay, Lieutenant, stand erect, salute him. Next night after again, we're having a few drinks. Yeah, Lieutenant, no, Lucky. Okay, Lucky, next morning, what's this Lucky shit? So I played the game, it was fun. One of the times when we were up there, I'll tell you, sometimes something takes over. I'm not trying to paint a false picture here. This is very, very true. This really happened. Just popped into my head. Where Ninth Corps Special was down like in a valley. My tent, there was about, with that different tents up at the top of the hill. And there were about 6, 7 guys in that tent. Next tent over, 6, 7, 8 guys, whatever. Bunks, Cots. There were cots really, So, we're partying one night. And all of a sudden, a guy barges into our tent, and he says, he's going crazy. He's going crazy. He's got a, it was a rifle with rapid fire. I forget the name of it. It almost comes to me. But it was a rapid fire weapon. He says he's got this weapon, and he's threatening to shoot everybody. Well, it was one of those weird things. Instead of reacting that way, maybe just a couple of drinks, or for some reason, just at that moment, things sometimes happen. I went in there, and everybody's standing up like frightened. I knew the guy really well. I knew him well. We laughed together and stuff. Maybe that was part of my, quote, courage. I don't know. But I walked in, and he looked at me, he's crying. He says, I'm going to kill every motherfucker in this tent. And this type of thing. In the chow line, he'd be serving the food. And, sometimes you get some guys, they want another pancake or they want this. And he was saying things like, I'm going to give every motherfucker as many pancakes. He's saying things that don't make sense. I guess he's drunk or whatever. Well, I stood there, and everybody knew what the hell he might do. And I just looked at him, I said, give me the gun. He hit the truth. And he just kept talking. I walked closer to him. It was like a fucking movie, I said, just give me the gun. And as I walked closer, he started dropping the weapon. Well, I didn't all of a sudden reach for it. I just kind of took it from him, and I says, "You'll be all right, come on, man, you'll be all right." And it was that kind of a conversation. And that passed. It's one of those things. He could have just shot everybody. It turned out that way. Another little anecdote here where sometimes I get pretty hard up, because I was very particular. I was particular. Half the time, I think I don't want to catch you. Those days, all you worry about was syphilis or gonorrhea, or maybe getting somebody pregnant. So, and I wasn't going with anybody. But still, I was particular, in a way. But it was that kind of a thing, I couldn't, there was no big strain, half the time, you just, I felt at the time that, it gave me more of a peaceful mind to masturbate than, go around wielding a sword, if I was capable of it, to, every, I don't know what it is. So much for that. But I was tormented because I wasn't getting laid. There was enough activity, finding a nurse here, a USO show there. I especially love the USO shows. They come over. Are you Dick Contino? That type of thing. They look halfway decent. And usually they were, of course, I was only, 23 years old. And usually they were, 19, 20. So if they looked anything, maybe a little heavy or a little bit this way or that way. They finally stopped shooting over there. They came to a close, and everybody's talking about rotating home. And what would be required to rotate home? Well, I thought, wow, I've been a man without an outfit all these months. Maybe am I supposed to stay here the rest of? All of a sudden, a little anxiety started creeping in, a little fear. How do I get back? I don't even have an outfit. Who do I command? Who do I report to? Lieutenant Noel. He went all the way and had me promoted to staff sergeant. He thought I was such a leader. At one time, we were having a few drinks. He was crying to me. He said, for some reason, I wish I was half the man as you are. He was talking like that. He says, well, I had nothing but respect for you, and he knew that everybody's about to be going home or whatever. Well, thanks, Lieutenant. Haven't seen him ever since. But it's when he said, I'm putting you in for staff sergeant. I said, are you kidding? I said, wow. And jokingly, I said, what are you trying to do, get me to re-up? And we laughed about it. I thought, oh, that's just good. He means well, but that'll never happen. Well, sure enough, about a week later, they had a huge loudspeaker, like in MASH, And it said, will Sergeant Richard Contino report to the CP? I went, wow. Everybody's going, oh, so all the guys give me a bad time because in the mess hall, the NCOs or non-commissioned, or just privates, whatever, they eat in one section, the sergeants would eat in another. So that meant automatically I had to eat in another part of the mess hall. And I got the raspberry about that, which was fun, Anyway, back to that story about I contacted my original Captain Conrad, my original commanding officer, and I was able to find out how to add up all the points. You get so many points for every month you're there. Where to turn that in. And, well, I had been there going on 16 months. So it entitled me to rotate. I thought, wow, it's hard to believe. I'm going home. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like I totally wrapped myself up in Korea and in the outfits. I played and things and fun and all the partying and stuff. It was like, this is where I am, this is where I exist. I'm going to make the absolute best of it. You think that way automatically. But all of a sudden, that dream is kind of shattered. And you go, wait, the reality is is home. You know, the reality is there, and will I get there, or do I stay here forever? You know, these thoughts, anxieties want to creep in. Well, to make a long story short, even when it was like I was leaving McNeil Island again. Even when I got my orders cut that I was going to be rotating home the first part of January of that year, which would be January of 54. I went, wow. Maybe the last minute to say, wait, some of these points don't count. You know, you get paranoid. Some of these points don't count. And there's neither guy that cooked the chickens at McNeil Island, you know, any reason to detain you, you know. I'd write home, I'm going to be leaving here in January. I'm going, oh my God, am I really leaving here in January? You know, that type of thing. Well, that's there. The whole time I was there, I was told directly that even though, like the time of the shelling incident, and the Stars and Stripes, the official newspaper over there, they were instructed specifically not to write anything about Contino. Anything. My heroics, the fact I was a staff sergeant, whatever, any of these things were not to be printed. It was specific orders. In fact, when I did leave, there was a little note, a very one-liner at the bottom of one of the pages. It says, Dick Contino is rotating home from Korea. Very small print.
Yeah, pretty wild. Okay. That's going to do it for this week. Back here, closing up, we got a couple more episodes on my dad's story, and then we'll go in some other direction. Still not sure where that direction's going to be, but hey, I'm having too much of a good time. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye.